What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Monday Win by Noon webinar. With me, your host, Todd Bookspan, the founder of Win by Noon, and I'm joined by my co-hostess with the mostest, none other than Deborah Byrd from Plug and Play SM. What's up, Deborah?
Hello. Happy afternoon and Monday.
You know, it is a good Monday. It is a good Monday, and you're back in Texas now.
Yes. Can you tell with my glasses and tank top because it's brutally hot here? Probably not as hot as Arizona, but it's pretty hot.
Well, I'm over in California and I was going to do this outside,
Yeah.
but my wife told me that the yard guy is coming where we're renting our little place here in Venice. It's 72 today. It's beautiful.
Wow. It's 103.
Yep. Well, for all of you in warm places, sorry. For all of you in cool places, lucky you. So today we're going to really talk about what are some conversations you can have with your clients now. And this is going to be applicable to real estate agents and to loan officers. Sometimes we might go to one side or the other. And I really took my takeaways from the taking action notes from the modern mortgage and modern real estate summits are almost done. They're done and Adam's printing them up. So I should be able to put those out this afternoon to y'all. But in the meantime, I was rereading my notes and I was deciding, all right, this would be probably a good topic to talk about because I've got ideas, Deborah has ideas, and they're really not our ideas. We're just going to steal them from the speakers and then hopefully give you things to talk about because certainly loan officers right now are just talking about the fact that mortgage bonds were off by like 170 basis points a little bit ago. I think they're only off like 110 now or something crazy like that. So in the mortgage world, everyone thinks that's really, I guess the two things I saw on Facebook today was buy your loan officer a shot, and then real estate agents and loan officers posting the conversation between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, where it says at the end, by the way, if you're going to buy a house, use XYZ as your real estate agent. So I love that. So let's just start there. Well, I don't know if that's a good place to start. The good place to start with your clients is to tell them the truth of what's going on, right? That you don't really know. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have a good crystal ball. How's yours, Deborah?
It's not real good. It's about as good as the 8-ball when you just shake it and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I will say going off data and history is always better than just fear and emotion or sometimes the fake news. And, even if it's attention grabbing headlines, they do deserve the truth. And that's how they're going to make the most informed decisions.
Well, I think that's really when I'm talking to clients, first and foremost, I always joke, my crystal ball is a little foggy. That's been my line for 22 years. They tend to laugh. And I think that's really important because, oftentimes we want to be right. And I don't know that being right is always most important. I think really what's most important to me is giving them the data. Here's what people say about this side, and here's what people say about the other side. You can give your opinion on it if you feel like you have to be right. But I go back to the financial crisis, and I remember all the people in the mortgage industry talking about how it was a great time to buy. And then what happened was house prices kept going down and down and down. And I got back at the end and I realized that the experts that I followed in the mortgage industry are in the business of selling their product. They're selling mortgage rates, and they're trying to get us all hyped up to talk to our clients. And on the mortgage side, they're getting us hyped up to talk to our real estate agents. So it's kind of interesting to me. I think a lot of you know I follow Dan Rawich, and he's been putting out some slides that say, we definitely need to be a little wary about where, we're going to see some softening in certain areas. So, I think that, one thing I would say is not to put your fork in the sand. The history shows, right? So we had on the summit, we had David Childers from Keeping Current Matters. And he talked about that truly in recessions, which, I would say, I believe we're heading into a recession. Some big CEO today, like Morgan Stanley or something, 50-50 shot of going to recession. I'd like to say that my crystal ball is a little opens up on the recession side. I think we're going into recession at some point because we, now have twice crossed over the 10-year and the 2-year, which historically has always led to. So as Deborah, you said, let's look at history. And so I think it's be upfront with them that you don't really know where it's going. And I think that you have to be really careful. I listened to the expert in the Arizona market about 3 weeks ago. I think I talked to you all about that. And one of the things that she said was, if you're going to be in your house for 5 years, it doesn't really matter, right? But if you're only going to be in your house for a year or two, you got to be careful of what you do because who knows what's going to happen in the next year or two. That was really what she was saying. She can look at trends all day. That's what she does. But she says, it's really hard for me to tell you where we're going to be in 6 months. She could show that in the short term, that prices were still going to go up because we still had demand and low inventory. But she thought as inventory came on, that prices would level off, and then she didn't know where they would go from there. So that's my first thing is be honest. What do you think, Deborah?
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's just like any investment. You can't just look at the short term all the time. And that's where having a good partnership between the loan officer and the real estate agent, that's what I'm seeing is most critical right now is who are you doing business with conversations are you having and who's keeping you updated and informed so that you guys together are bringing the knowledge and expertise of the local housing market and local data and numbers that is, if you subscribe to Keeping Current Matters, it's always great to have the national statistics. But then again, lenders, you don't have access to MLS. So we need the real estate agents, and then real estate agents divide and conquer, depend on your loan officer of who you partner with to help give you up-to-date information. And just how does that even look from a long-term perspective of where interest rates when they do this? And no one has a crystal ball. And I like what you said about the advice, and Dave Childers, I don't recall if he said this at the summit. I think I missed his talk while I was on the couch, but he did a video on Facebook that said, your advice doesn't have to be perfect. And I think sometimes we get so caught up on feeling like we have to have all the answers and all the right answers and it being perfect that nobody, not even the top economist, has the perfect answers, because nobody can predict, and there's some that get it wrong. And so be okay with doing your research. When I say that, it doesn't mean just wing it or go off of other headline news where you haven't done some of the research yourself. But now is the time to team up and create content together while dividing and conquering and focusing on what's your lane and how you can deliver the best and most current information for your communities that you're building.
Well, I love that, right? You don't need to be perfect. And what I find is that the experts, when they're right about their predictions, go back and tell you, look at me, I was right. Pat myself on the back. Oh, Deborah, I'm so smart. Look at me. But when they're wrong, they don't really tell you that they were wrong, right? It's really rare that they go back and say, yeah, I kind of blew it there. Oftentimes some of them do, but most of the time that they don't. And that's why when you are giving your clients advice, so, I think David Childers is an easy person to quote, right? Hey, Keeping Current Matters is the biggest online source for real estate agents to keep up to date. And David Childers said that during the previous recessions that housing prices have continued to go up, although interest rates have gone up. And then if you again want to, the challenge to talk about where interest rates are going is you're going to scare people off, right? You have to think about it. If you are a loan officer, you need to be requalifying all your clients, right? Rates are 250 basis points worse than they were a week ago. And therefore that means, I don't know what that calculates to in rate, but is that 3/8 or a half? I don't know. Maybe if there's a LO, you could put it in the Zoom chat for me, what that did to your rate sheets. But that would be my guess. And so, one is you should be letting your real estate agents know what that is. Two is you need to be requalifying your clients. And then you have to be okay that some of your clients are just going to wait, right? I watched an interview with Jeremy Forcier that Dave Savage did on the Halftime Report. And he said, you know what, he's requalifying all of his clients. And a lot of his clients are saying, I don't really want to buy $50,000 or $100,000 less house right now. I'm just going to wait. And you have to be okay with that, right? Allow your clients to make their decisions on that. But so if you're a real estate agent, you need to be talking to all your pre-approved clients and make sure that they really do qualify, what you're doing. That I'm sure that every loan officer this morning, when the market was off 100 basis points, had that momentary, what moment when they realized that their client who wanted our contract over the weekend may not qualify. And so I think that's a great conversation to be having as well right now.
Well, I also think just leadership for the team leads, whether you have a bunch of buyers agents or even listing agents on your team, or even if you're a branch manager or producing loan officer that, has other LOs underneath them. That was one thing that ironically Denise came in, the mortgage nerd, this morning, and she and I had a conversation about kind of where rates were. And she said, this is a time that more than ever, people are going to need good leaders to step in and kind of keep the calm and the peace and reminding them to double down and do the activities that most won't do because they immediately get scared. For example, if you're a newer loan officer or real estate agent and you only have 1 or 2 deals every couple months or every month, the pain and the fear of, oh my gosh, how are consumers going to respond to this? What if we have people that say they want to wait and you are depending on that one commission check and now it's gone? Like you kind of go into freak out panic mode. And so lead with the truth and the education, but also help, anchor with them and guide them through it, that this is just part of it. And so a great and timely message would be, and she literally did it this morning. We recorded her. She was wearing her mortgage nerd ball cap, like half worn makeup because she had just done a cycling class, I believe. And she still, it didn't matter. The video didn't have to be perfect. It didn't have to be the best quality lighting or even audio, but she went ahead and sent a powerful message to her clients that are out shopping for homes, as well as her real estate partners. Cause I had actually witnessed an agent call her, which I thought was a huge compliment, and talk about the amount of trust that's built, where the agent had asked, okay, what do we do? Like, what do I tell clients? Are people freaking out? How are they responding? What does this mean? Should we start talking about seller buy down? Can you teach me that strategy? So, also use this, and maybe that's just you leading if you're a loan officer, it's your real estate partners as your team, or if you're a real estate agent, it's also title reps and inspectors and other people that you do business with, of, again, bringing timely messages. Even if you're in half makeup and ball caps, it's okay. Because you don't want the opposite effect. And I can't remember what the name of that webinar was that we did with Jeremy Forcier, Todd, where he talked about why you should proactively requalify, because you don't want to be in the reverse where you're reacting and now you have a bunch of possible contracts and people who believe they qualify when rates have gone up, and now they're pissed off. So be proactive in the communication.
I think there's nothing, there's so many different ways I can go for that. One is, I always applaud Denise, right? I think, one of the things that Kelly Zitler talked about at the Modern Mortgage Summit was that the, number one missed opportunity is video, is building a YouTube channel, right? We all talked about it. The best time to plant an elm tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. But really I just think that it's a great time to be communicating to your clients, and social media is an easy way to do it. Or record it, put it on YouTube, send a link to everyone via email, maybe do both. That probably be what my recommendation is. And then, be okay. You look how you looked, right? That's always the thing that we run into is, oh, well, I better wait till I better light, or, oh my hair's a little bit long, or, oh, I'm not wearing the right shirt. All these things that we all get in our own head of why we shouldn't do a video. But in the end, it's the content that matters. Not the look. And so I think whatever you believe your message is, I would encourage you to get it out. And I think that is a key. And Deborah put down in there where you can find Denise at themortgagenerd.com. Now, of course, you're all thinking, well, her social media is fabulous. And you know it because it's Deborah who's doing all of her social media. It is fabulous. But on top of that, she takes action, and they don't take themselves too seriously. I won't make a comment about the tortilla fight today because I don't exactly know what I missed, what was going on. And I don't know what this
Todd,
is. When you're doing rock, paper, scissors, I don't know what this is. So
I wish you could have been in here this morning, because she was actually asking me for your website for the coaching program that you had. And I told her it's Win by Noon, WBN operating system. And she was like, can you please tell Todd that loan officers don't know how to spell operating? Can it be an easier word? And I was like, I'm sorry. I think most loan officers probably do know how to spell operating. And I had just watched Billy Madison, where he retook grade school, for 2 weeks. And I told her, I was like, maybe you need to go back to school and learn how to spell operating. But I don't know if your ears were burning this morning or not, but she was asking about your coaching program. And I will say that is what I really appreciate with Denise, is that she's so clear on her big vision and her big why. And sometimes that's easier said than done when you can look at someone and it's, if you have 25 closings a week and you're still getting 12 to 15 apps a day, you think I'm not like them. But no matter how busy she's ever been or how the market has ever been, her commitment to her true why and purpose really bleeds with getting people information and teaching people how to make more informed decisions while leveraging real estate. And because that core value in her runs so deep, and a lot of that goes to our childhood and kind of our upbringing, it doesn't matter what the tide does. She is committed to providing educational content. She may leverage people now to help her get that content distributed, but she's a researcher. She's a nerd. It fills her cup every day. Like when you ask what is something that would have to be done every day for you to feel like it's the best day ever with your work, it's providing educational content that gets people to really start thinking. So it's easy for her to do. It's not always easy for all people. I know sometimes we get caught up in how we look on camera, but I can tell you from running several hundreds of accounts on the back end and looking at analytics, the videos that actually perform the best are the most authentic, generic, non-branded or polished. Because again, in the mind, people think you're selling to them once it's too polished or formal. So it's the ones when you are in the ball cap and you're walking down the street and you come across an open house sign. Like I was walking the other night and I saw so many coming soon, open house, for sale. And I thought, wow, this is great. The market is starting. Like I love seeing this as I'm out walking, because for a while there, I didn't see any of that.
Well, and I love that. So I think as we kind of look at it, conversations to have, and then also let's talk about activities to do. So, in order to have the conversations, you need to be honing your database. So again, it wasn't, every speaker, but it was every other speaker at the mortgage and the real estate summits last week that talked about, being dialed in on your database, getting back to the basics. Shant Banojian, the #1 loan officer in America, said, hey, I'm just getting back to the basics, right? Josh Metal said, focus on income producing activities. Cody Gibson, one of the largest expansion teams in the country, the Keller Williams, said, hey, I'm focused on my database. Jason Mitchell, #1 real estate team in the country, said, pick up the phone and call people. He said, you can't email and text them. You need to call people now. People need to hear from you. And so I think, certainly when someone says focus on your income activity, it's Spring Benson, the #1 realtor with Real Brokerage, said, know your numbers. And, again, when I hear focus on those activities, know your numbers, me, I'm Mr. Win by Noon. Of course, I'm going to default back to that as being your priority. But I think you've got to know what your database is. If you haven't really started to dial in your database, the bottom line is that if people choose to wait, it kind of stinks when you're trying to, pay your bills now. But you know what? You can do one of two things. You can cry about it. You can try to argue with them about their decision, or you can accept it, #1, and then say, okay, how am I going to keep in touch with this person? What's my system for that to make sure that I'm communicating them as the market is shifting so that I can get them off the fence sooner than later, right? You're going to be wanting to call them as you get your, these statistics get updated, as numbers change. And then #2 is then you got to focus on the other people, right? The people who didn't buy. Cody Gibson said, every lead matters now. And I think it's every relationship matters now. I'd kind of expand on that. And so I think that you have to ensure that as you go through this, you're thinking, #1, we talked about already, what's the content that you're going to do? #2 is how do you have it organized in your database so you can make sure you're communicating with them regularly and easily. And then #3 is you got to be able to categorize those folks who are waiting so that you can make sure that you don't lose them to somebody else. Because if they're out walking with Deborah down the street and they see that new coming soon and they call that sign, and that sign is a realtor who is not you, or that sign is a realtor who's not your realtor and you're a lender, and they refer it to someone else, then you lose that if you don't follow up, right? Todd Duncan, if you don't follow up with them, they won't follow up with you.
Well, I love one of the principles that Todd Duncan teaches is that you can do more with less if you really go after and deepening the relationships and having strategic relationships. And so I like when you said that every relationship matters. It does. And as the digital shift occurs, there's always going to be someone who may be able to do it for less money, faster, with a different loan program. But I still believe rock, paper, scissors at the end of the day, no pun intended with my rock, paper, scissors TikTok today. But at the end of the day, relationships is the ultimate trump card. And if you have the relationship and those who make that a priority in their business, and you show up in your planner every day, you already have a goal of how many people from your database you're going to contact. And you just have that as a new standard that you already know you have to contact X amount of people every day, no matter, you can't they answer or not. But in time when we're more connected than ever, and I know I own a social media company, and you would probably think that my focus would just be on social media. It's actually not. It's leveraging social to deepen those relationships that matter most and to connect, because I think that's the ultimate trump card. And people are actually starved, even though we all have social, people are actually starved for real intimacy and connection more than ever. Even doesn't matter how many likes or comments you get, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to know that they matter. If they do a loan with you, or they buy a home or sell a home with you, and you don't talk to them ever again, it doesn't matter how great that process went. If you don't keep in touch with them, they're going to feel like it was just a transaction, and you lose the potential income that should be earned by doing business with those who have already shown that they love, trust, and respect you by doing business with you for the first time. So that's that loss value that we just don't always see because we're so focused on the new month and the new week and new apps that sometimes if you just take care and make it a priority and you show up every day, these are those small little, it's like brushing your teeth. I battle with my kids. I'm like, if you brush your teeth for 8 hours, one day a year, your teeth aren't going to be clean. I don't care if you do it for 24 hours in a day. You have to do it every single day for your teeth to be clean. It's no different. There's certain daily principles that I know the planner approves with which activities that if you just did them every day, the success will come. You just have to stick with it.
I never thought about brushing my teeth once a year.
Even if you did it all day, it's not going to be clean.
Those are
have to
smart
do it a
kids if
little
they
bit.
were wondering. That's a great one. Well, and I think that, it's the call reluctance piece, right? You said you got to reach out to your clients. And, to me, this script is pretty easy, right? The script is, and I think it's the same for loan officers and real estate agents. Hey, Deborah, it's Todd Bookspan. Hey, I just wanted to touch base. I've been getting so many questions about the market from everyone I talk to. Or, hey, Deborah, it's Todd Bookspan. I'm so excited to reconnect. I apologize. It's been a while since we chatted. I just wanted to reach out because so many of my clients are worried about what's going on in the market. And then you get to fill in the blank of whatever your expertise or your opinion is. And one of the things that you mentioned a minute ago was talk less, right? And so the other thing that you can do is, if you don't want to put your own foot in your mouth, what I found early on in my, let's call it a sales career, is that people have an opinion, and sometimes, guess what? It's different than mine, and it's okay. And what people want you to do is validate their opinion. And sometimes you have to be okay with the tension of disagreeing as well. And you might want to pause when you say, hey, my clients are wondering what's going on in the market, and say, hey, have you seen what's going on? Because when you say that, or hey, what do you think about what's going on? Ask the question to them, and then shut up and let them tell you in their words what they think. Because they may be like, oh my gosh, I just talked to my financial advisor and she said that this is the best time for me to be owning rental property because rates are still good, rents are going up, and I can buy it and fix in a 30-year rate mortgage. And that even if prices go down next year, they're going to bounce back, and I'll still, over the next 10 years, during my investing, horizon, I'm going to come out with a, XYZ ROI. And you might have actually opened your mouth and said, hey, I'm a little bit worried about the market. And then you might have scared them off from buying.
So true. And that also is a good reminder to don't, when you are working on your database and say you're putting your ABCs or however you choose to organize it, don't forget, even with every single loan application, you have the potential of building out a database of, for every asset statement you have, there's a potential wealth advisor listed. For every divorce decree you get, there's a divorce attorney on the decree. Or every tax return, look for the CPA, and you could be putting or have an admin put that information in. Or if you have a good lender partner, this is where a good lender partner can help tee you up with your database and making sure that you're building out other potential affinity partners that could also value this in this education, just for them to be able to do their business effectively and efficiently.
We all want to be effective and efficient, right? I mean, that's always the key. And, it's I don't know, I'm still baffled by I'm not baffled by it. I mean, people get quiet now and get that analysis paralysis, like get overwhelmed, right? I think that, last week, right when we were getting ready to go out for the summits, there was a CNBC article that mortgage applications were at a 22-year low. And the funny part is that, we're talking to the best of the best in the mortgage industry. They're all saying, oh, you know what, my originations are down in 40%. I mean, it's not like, chicken feed, but they're all saying, hey, I'm just going to crush it this year. I'm going to do my best, my best things that I can do. And that's by not getting, fear involved. And so I would encourage all of you, I don't know what, for me personally, it's going to happen. You're going to have that few moments of, okay, what am I going to do? Right. You read all these Bitcoin companies, because Bitcoin's down 20% or whatever it's down today, are laying off employees. You hear about mortgage companies laying off people because mortgage originations are down. And then you have to say, okay, well, what am I, I'm a team leader. What am I going to do with my team? But all these things that can come in there, and you have to say, okay, once you give yourself a minute or two to be all sad and all worried, then you say, okay, what do I have to do to take action to make it happen? And so that's why I really wanted to talk today about these conversations that you can have. And really, it's just the conversation of connection and keeping it simple with your clients. Because in the end, I think if you get out there and talk to your clients, it's going to pull you out of whatever funk you're in, because you're going to be adding value. No one's going to get off the phone and not say thank you. And Deborah said it, you might get some people that you get voicemails. My voicemail script is probably like, hey, it's Todd Bookspan, the Bookspan Baker team. Hope you're doing great. Hey, it's been a while since we connected. I'm getting a ton of questions from clients about what the heck is going on in the housing market, all this recession talk, all this inflation. Let's talk about it. Give me a call, right? I mean, that's it. Just don't overthink it. What else would you do, Deborah? Something different that I'm talking about?
Well, I had posted, and I think even Dan Keller did the same thing, showing just how inflation has grown since 2001 and which areas or categories. I think it was chicken, gas. Don't forget, now more than ever, people also need the financial literacy education that's not taught in school. And I don't care if you're a real estate agent or a loan officer, it's good for all of us to learn. And there's probably something that you're studying within finance, whether it's budgeting, how to budget. Maybe you're looking at cost-effective dates on a budget, or free things to do in the community. I mean, that could be a very easy post that you could go live, or you could do a video, or just make it a graphic of, here are all the community parks or free events that are going on just in our local area, and you make that a commitment for every Friday, you're putting that information out there. Or, here are your best buys for July. Things like that, it's going to help people when they may be searching, or what's heavy on their heart for them based off their fear could be with the finance. And so you can either find ways to make more money or help manage your debt better. And the more that you can get that education out there, and to position yourself as someone who does truly care about their overall financial, wealth or health, but then also you want to be their loan officer or real estate agent for life, but not just, pigeonholed in that aspect either. It's, again, people, they want to feel like they belong, and they want to feel significant, and they do want to learn. When we're learning, it's motivating, because when you're not learning, you kind of feel stale and stagnant. And I think it's just such a great opportunity for all of us to sharpen our finance skills, and then just pick one thing that you learn every day. If you're committed to reading 10 pages out of a book each day, then just share one thing that you learned. And that one thing, if it helped you, it may help somebody else. And that's the goal.
I love that. I love that. And I love that you mentioned the inflation piece that you and Dan both shared. I always say swipe and adapt from people in the industry. Most of the leaders like Dan will give you free permission to do it, as long as you're, I just give him credit, right? I mean, certainly if you're in whatever part of Washington near Seattle that he's in, maybe you don't share it, maybe find someone else that's got something similar out there. But there's lots of great places to get information that's not expensive to get. There's lots of free reports that you see loan officers posting from, like Fred, which is the Federal Reserve of something or other. Just Google Fred charts. There's great charts on there. And, I subscribe to Dan Rawich's stuff. He does some cool stuff every week that I really, dig, from a information perspective. I don't do Dan's trading, but I do subscribe to stuff just to hear what he's got to say. And so, kind of as I go into wrap up mode here, because my goal is always keep these at 30 minutes. I kind of feel like today we kind of got all of our real information out in the first 15 minutes, but I think we are rambling always. At least you guys all tell us our rambling is always valuable. I find it that way from Deborah, because then she gives something that she hadn't thought about. One thing I would encourage you all to do, and Deborah's going to knock it off probably, so I'll tell her that, and then you'll see what Deborah does with it, is look at Seth O'Byrne on Instagram. And he did a really good video on real estate investing. Like, he's done this pivot at least from the two things I've watched him recently, what he talked about at the Modern Real Estate Summit, and then this video about investing. He said, who's inflation for? I'm not going to go through what his videos, but I go on there and watch it. It'd be a great one to swipe and adapt in your market, whether you're a realtor or a loan officer. And I guess my closing thought is, take action, right? That's always my closing thought. Right? There we go. See, Elizabeth Rose saw it. Of course she did. And so I would say, take action, right? I think the bottom line is you need to be communicating with your database. And in the end, me and Deborah gave you some suggestions of things that you can say to your database, but you're a professional. You're in this, you've been in it for a long time, and just have the conversation and connect with people. They need it. And then Deborah, in addition to your closing thoughts, I still want to know what's this in rock, paper, scissors. Is that something I missed?
We both did scissors. And so I was trying to Maybe you
Got it.
couldn't tell because of the ring, but I was just trying to
Okay, I
tease
thought you did
Denise.
this. I was like,
No, it was
like a
scissors.
bull, like, like a my or whatever. Okay, okay, that's all good. All right. So what are your closing thoughts, my friend?
Just, speaking of Seth, he had also made a post on Instagram and I made sure to put his handle in our chat, but he said, be somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody. And I want all of you to have permission that it's okay, even if that means yourself. Like if you're freaking out yourself right now, maybe you need to lead yourself before you lead others. And you're kind of also going through that freak out moment. I love how authentic Shayla Gifford was at the Modern Mortgage Summit. So just a reminder to all of you, if you haven't watched that, or if you need to, when can they buy the tickets, Todd, for if they're a late buyer and they want to get the 365-day access?
We're still selling tickets. If someone bought a 30-day, they just need to email Adam and he can get them upgraded to a 100 to a 365 ticket. But we're going to limit it because we're going to do something new in the future. So I'm not quite sure how long we're going to sell them for. So just keep that in mind if you didn't buy one. Yeah, I mean, we're selling like a handful a day right now, nothing too crazy.
It's just she was very vulnerable and raw in her message about, she too has been there, and even Jeremy as well. A lot of these big hitters, give yourself a moment to have your freak out, but then also, be that person for yourself, lead yourself, so then you can lead and educate others around you, because how you show up every day. And when most lenders or agents may be gloomy Gus's and just down in the dumps and their energy, like people feel your energy and your conviction. So even if you have to fake it till you make it and you get up every day and you're going to share that one thing that you've learned, do it with excitement and passion and with all your heart. I believe that's the Win by Noon quote for today. And people will feel that. And at a time when people are hurting, we all need more positivity in our lives. And it could be healing with laughter. I like to do a lot of laughter and humor because I think it is healing. So that's just part of my personality. It's what I choose to do, but make it your own and just be cognizant of how you show up every day and just give it your all.
I watched David Letterman interview Ellen DeGeneres, and she said, our intentions create our reality. Let's leave it with that. You nailed it, Deborah Byrd. Thank you all for being here. We love getting here on Mondays. We try to keep it short, and we appreciate you. We will be here next Monday talking about something like this. Who knows what, but have a great week. We will see you soon.